Love and longing. This could be more challenging than I assumed. Is there a bucket of water nearby? Koga asks as he beholds Vernon and Mironoir openly cuddling. The deviants have forgotten where they are and are sharing a chair together with their eyes closed as they hold each other tight. It is an adorable scene, but at the same time, Koga finds himself quite uncomfortable here. Many of the nearby princesses are openly eyeing him up if they're not tittering at the couple and he needs to talk to Vernon. It's something he actually finds himself annoyed by. This looks like a Victorian garden party with fancier gowns and a distinct lack of biscuits, but it's actually a meeting of some of the most obscenely dangerous beings on the planet. Every frou-frou mountain of lace, silk, and ribbons was draped over top a walking extinction event, and somehow that cretin Vernon was completely at ease among them. "Why would you want to throw water on them?" asks a princess in a shimmering baby blue dress. She looks like she walked out of a Disney movie, and he idly wonders if she's rocking glass slippers. "I need to speak with Vernon, but his world is currently only inhabited by his wife," Koga remarks as he adjusts his glasses. "Unless one of you can get me in contact with the Empress or one of her chief advisors." "Why do you need to speak with the Empress?" Miss Blonde in Blue asks. "Some criminal organization made a move on one of our trainee sorcerers while he was visiting family. We have 1 dead and 3 captured, and we need to know exactly how far we can take this without causing a massive scandal or insulting the local lords and ladies. Traditionally, sorcerers have as much authority as they're willing to bring to the table, opposing and rivaling the queens of the region or even the Empress if they're willing to push that far," Princess Bluebell answers. "So sorcerers are a massive wild card. Great," Koga grumps. "What happened?" Vernon asks, and Koga sees both he and Mironoir are watching him. Perhaps they were always listening. He doesn't know and doesn't care. Dale brought Jeth Erla to visit his family. She took her children to a nearby park so they could play without trashing the house, and they felt something happen in the Axiom. Dale rushed in with his shotgun out and found a strange woman grabbing an unconscious Jeth with his sisters nearby and also out cold. The moment she saw him, she pulled a knife to threaten the boy with, and he took her head off with the first shot. This shot spooked her fellows, and he was able to round them up with sorcery and tie them down before calling in backup. There was mention of a criminal organization named the Orega Girls that these 4 had some connection to. The survivors are being detained, and Dale is on protection detail for the URLA family. "And we need to know where we can step without getting onto the toes of the local authorities," Vernon remarks. "Oh, so you plan on joining us?" Koga asks with a grin. "I'm one of you. If you guys are stepping into shit, my boots are getting dirty too," Vernon says before turning back to his wife. "My love, I'm afraid that we must cut today's bliss short. I am needed." "Oh, do not let me keep you from your duties and heroics, my dearest. I'm certain I can handle a few hours with my peers." "It might be best if you two stick together. The sheer sappiness might help you get talking to someone with authority." "We have authority," Blue Babadi Badadam says. "Oh really? What level of authority?" Koga challenges, and Vernon smacks his forehead audibly. "I put it in the briefing, Koga. Under cultural, a battle princess is considered a sworn part of the Empress's personal army, with the elite among them being the honor guard. The official title comes with an oath that brings with it a great deal of personal authority. A princess is trusted to uphold the Empress's laws and holdings wherever she goes, and oath-breakers are exiled, but are registered as princess-level threats for the sake of comprehension. Not that it occurs often, oath-breakers are rare." "Chez Marie on Octarine Spin," Koga replies as a counterpoint. "What did that bitch do?" a new voice demands, and Koga turns to see one of the girls in a bright pink dress with almost ghostly white hair demands. "An albino in pink." Do you know her?" Koga asks. "That unimaginable bitch is my second cousin, a blight on my family for her treachery. What else has she done? Where has the whore hidden herself?" "She was on Octoran Spin," Koga remarks blandly. "Was?" the whitest princess in pink asks. "She's dead now. Took a hell of a lot of doing, but when you make an enemy of the Chainbreaker and her crew, you don't tend to last long." Koga supplies, and Miss Mari seems shocked. "The Chainbreaker?" she asks after a moment. "A collection of human bounty hunters. Basically, they go around and get paid well to bring in the criminals that the local authorities are not equipped to deal with. They hit hard, hit fast, and hit their target over and over again until they can wrap them in chains and deliver them with a bow on top to the proper authorities." Vernon supplies. "Anyways, I'm going to say hello to the Empress and make sure we don't accidentally declare a war or jihad. So hold off on the thumbscrews and hammers until we know exactly what we can do." "All right, I'll be left standing here like an idiot gaijin then. Thank you, Vernon." Koga begins before Vernon outright vanishes without a whisper. "I must have missed something. Did anyone sense him using the axiom? Because I didn't. He's been refining his own control of the axiom around him. He's been trying to blend everything he does into the local axiom." Miro Noir notes with a smile. "Eventually, he'll be able to bring full-scale sorcery to bear without even a whisper of power. Terrifying. Anyways, I've told Vernon what's going on. I'm going back to the village in case I'm needed," Koga says before he twists the axiom around him and is suddenly within the woods. Simply gone to the site, but there's a distinct taste of something old and watching from the feel of his power. It's like something just reached in and grabbed him. The princess in blue remarks in shock. "That's a sorcerer for you," Miro Noir says with a slight smile. "They're never alone. They're always ready for something, and there's little if any way to stop them. Is it any wonder it would take several of us to face one of them? And the Empress wants to make sorcerers more common and trained in a style of—" "What was it again?" the albino asks. "Shinobi Duro Mari, a type of messenger, scout, spy, and assassin." "Assassin sorcerers? Well, I didn't need to sleep tonight," Duro Mari notes with a shudder. "Still, if that treacherous bitch is dead at a human sorcerer's hands, I'll be happy." "Oh, not a sorcerer. The only human sorcerers are on Serbo. I think there's one really high-level adept, but he's on a world called Vuxa, I believe. Your cousin was killed by a normal human. Those Tret-looking pieces of eye candy are capable of killing princesses without sorceress power," Lilangura demands in a deadened tone. "Yes. Is there something wrong?" Miro Noir asks her with an angelic smile. "What else did I miss when I went on that pilgrimage?" "You've been out 2 years, with perfect timing to miss the new race scream onto the galactic scene and proceed to conquer worlds with either kinetic weapons or their enormous and generous cocks," Hilgjut remarks with a wry smile. "Oh wow, no wonder the unmarried girls are going insane," Migaver remarks. "If you'd like, I'd be willing to offer a discount for my fellow princess at the boutique I own. Hilgjut took advantage of it already. I was wondering why you were both wearing the same dress. It's a favorite of mine and Hilg always admired it, so I had another commissioned for her on her birthday. We have yet to see her out of it." Miga remarks with a giggle. "Well, of course not. Look at this," Hilg says, turning around to show her derriere. "Look at that. My husband can't stop staring. There's just something about this shape and color that has him go from proper to drooling, and it's amazing. Oh my goodness, the things he's done to me since I got it. Perhaps this is something we should experiment with? See what else turns him on like a light switch." Miga notes with a hand to her chin as she considers. In the palace, a potted plant suddenly sprouts a fully grown and military-dressed human being who casually ignores the fact that he's being seen on the security cameras and calmly knocks on the door of a nearby room. The fact that the doors are so massive that it would take a battering ram to dent them does not stop the knocks from echoing like cannon blasts. "What is going on?" the Empress demands from inside. Friendly neighborhood sorcerer with some questions that you'll definitely want to hear. Vernon replies, and there's a pause. One that stretches out for a few moments before there's a snort of amusement. No, you may not outright kill any of my battle princesses for insulting your wife. A light maiming or mauling, however, is quite fine to remind them that manners are as much part of being a princess as incredible battle prowess. The Empress answers in an amused tone, and in response Vernon laughs as he pushes the door open, despite the fact that it easily outweighs him by a factor of 100 to 1. It was just a common theme in the palace. The doors couldn't be opened unless you really wanted to open them. It kept out the weaker thieves to such a point that past empresses had full-on forgiven and recruited from among thieves that could open the doors and do so with the speed and subtlety needed to steal from them. While good to know and something I was wondering about, something else has come up and I was hoping to have your input so that it's handled in a way that best serves Serbo and doesn't end up with a blood feud between the Apuk and humanity kicking off, Vernon says. And the Empress pauses as she looks up from her paperwork and stares. Should I keep talking? Yes, you should. What's happened? A criminal organization called the Orega Girls tried to kidnap one of our trainee sorcerers when he was visiting family. Our first one, actually, Jeth Urla. The end result is that the Urlas are now under direct protection of one of our sorcerers, and we have one dead body and 3 captive criminals. A lot of us are eager to do something about this, likely to go after the Orega girls entirely, but we need to know where the limits are. Are we even allowed to do this? This is your world, these are your people, and it's your laws we're trying to enforce. What do we do and what do we not do? Vernon asks, and she puts down the ornate pen designed to look like a quill and considers for a moment before smiling. First rule of leadership, young sorcerer, never let a good crisis go to waste, she says with a smile. I thought it was delegate, delegate, delegate. No, that's methodology. How to be efficient. You don't have to, but you really should. This, on the other hand, is a wonderful opportunity, one which I will use to bring you sorcerers closer to Serbo, look wonderful in the public eye, train my battle princesses, and encourage the people to think even better of you, sorcerer men. How? Watch and learn, young sorcerer. You may have the wisdom of the woods, but I am Empress. I understand my world and people, the Empress says as she rises up and to the side of her axiom twists and contorts until a hole opens in the air. Come along now. The princesses are in guarded stances, ready to pounce before suddenly bowing as the Empress walks out of the unannounced portal, closely followed by Vernon. Oh, no. I won't have my finest warriors pointlessly bowing, not when we have a wonderful opportunity in front of us, the Empress says in a jovial tone. Now, apparently the little village of sorcerers that has been set up have had a run-in with the more dishonorable and disgraceful of Serbo. They want to retaliate but don't know how much is too much. I want you girls to offer your aid, not only as warriors but as enforcers of my will. Well, that's certainly one way of letting us know where the lines are. Vernon notes to himself as the grass under him darkens ever so, as a single blade grows upwards and under his pants to reach up and make contact with his skin. No one noticed. Bear in mind this is, of course, volunteer only. I understand if you girls don't have the mind to know where the laws and limits are. But those that do understand, I encourage you to go with Mr. Shea to the village where the sorcerers are being trained so that you can help them sort out this little kerfuffle. Not to mention it's a great way to understand their stranger arts, isn't it? Oh, a princess and sorcerer team up? Oh, how wonderful! A day of work with my beloved. This promises to be such good fun. Miro Noir notes as she gracefully walks over to kiss Vernon, who returns it gleefully. That's the spirit. Now, I expect you ladies to play nice with the sorcerers. They may be men, but they're not fragile little flowers. They're ready to play rough, just not too rough. I'd suggest following Miro Noir's example, but all of you are rather happily married and have no need to go so. The Empress trails off as the quick kiss dissolves into a full-on makeout between the two. She giggles fondly and regards the rest. Anyways, the sorcerers want to make sure that they don't break something they shouldn't in their investigations. Do have fun with them. The Empress orders before giving them a slight nod, then turning around and walking through the still open portal.